on the show again. It's wonderful to have you on Spark to Fire. My first question for you, really just to kind of get the conversation started, is I'd love if you could just give our audience just like a really brief synopsis about how you got into entrepreneurship. You got it on several different levels. You were doing a lot of different things, but just love to hear it directly from you and how it all got started.
Well, the very first start that I had was just being poor. And so the advantage of being poor, growing up with nothing, I had a single mom with 6 kids who worked 2 jobs, is that you learn to hustle and you become money motivated, because most people that grow up poor think that if I become rich, I'll be happy. And so my journey as an entrepreneur started because I was poor and I wanted to be rich. Now, the evolution and journey that I've experienced since then has been one that's much more perspective based, of not just understanding the world of not enough, where I was a victim, everything happened to us, but a transition from a world of just enough for me, thinking the world was a zero-sum game where you give to receive. Everything in my life as I became rich became a negotiation, a trade, to this world that I live in now, which is an abundant world of entrepreneurship, a world of more than enough, a world I try to teach other entrepreneurs to be in, where you don't live in a zero-sum game, you live in a value-add game, where everything adds value through appreciation, acknowledgement, and even asking, and teaching entrepreneurs how to ask, utilizing open-ended questions, and building a community of people who not only help one another, but know other people that can help us. And that's been the journey of entrepreneurship and how and why I got involved, which I think is a lot of the reasons why people do get involved in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, they're looking to fill some sort of a void, right? They're looking to fill some sort of a gap, whether it's in personality, whether it's financially. Just like you mentioned, you were poor when you got started, and I heard you talking on a different podcast, is talking about how like you did everything around your life became money centered. No matter what you do, I think you were talking about like, if I had to shovel crap for, to make $1 million, I was going to do it. So I love to
Yeah.
just like hear how your mindset has changed. Obviously, it's changed drastically from that point, but talk a little bit about how like your mindset has changed directly around money.
It's a faith-based, and it doesn't have to be religious faith or spiritual based faith at all. For me, the faith was that I had thought that I had made all my money by myself, that it was a matter of my work ethic, my effort. And what I had learned is, as I told people, I didn't have faith in anything other than myself, is that I served a God of money. And the shift in my paradigm or perspective was that everybody serves a God of some sort. Everybody has faith in something. And all I had to do was shift my faith from money to a faith of something bigger than me, an omniscient, all powerful, all knowing, omnipresent being that loved me more than my mom. So instead of being punished when setbacks, failures, and mistakes occurred, I was being promoted and protected. Just as if, you reach out to touch a hot stove and your mom slaps you and screams at you, you think you're being punished. No, she's protecting you and promoting you. The only difference is my God is omniscient. So it knows everything, even more than my mom. So when I get slapped on the hand now or yelled at, I know that I'm being protected and promoted because my God loves me more than my mom loves me.
That's good. You come across as a man who has really beat down his ego and really has done a lot of work when it comes to overcoming ego, fear of loss. I'd love to just hear, what are the steps you took, like when you built up this massive sports agency, right? So you're with Leigh Steinberg, this massive growth, right? You guys were doing hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you lost it. And so there's obviously the crash effect of like, okay, well, that was my identity. My identity was here, and now my identity is basically just got leveled. So what did you do to overcome that ego?
So interesting. It's a 4-step process, and I teach this 4-step process. I call it stop, drop, and roll. And so the process that I started was, one, I had to get into a practice of identifying ego. See, most people think of ego as just a narcissistic, in superior feeling in a situation, but it's not. Ego-based consciousness is a consciousness that says, don't you have to go get happy, go get healthy, go get wealthy, go get worthy, that you know there's not enough of anything for anyone. And what I learned was a practice of identifying separation that ego causes. So a need to be right. How many times in my life was I creating a detriment or an interference because I have a need to be right or a need to be offended? Or when was I anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful? When did I feel inferior as well as superior? All these different things, I got into the practice of identifying when ego was present. And that was the first step. The second one was the most difficult one. It gets to be really easy to identify when your blood pressure goes up and you feel these feelings. Right. But the second one was not to resist, but to surrender, to stop. So most people, when they get angry, anxious, frustrated, guilty, resentful, whatever it is, they get resistant. They start fighting it. They accelerate in the wrong direction. They create more of a bigger problem than it was when it started. And so I had to learn and practice that when I identified ego-based consciousness, I needed to stop. Then the third step was to breathe, to breathe out of my mouth in through my nose to what I call drop. So I identify the ego, I stop, and then I breathe and drop until I get to neutral or to center. And then I remember, and recollect what to that big, great source that loves me more than my mom, of what I want, who I can help, who can help me, and how to get it done. Reprioritizing the situation so that I'm rolling in the right trajectory, not creating void, shortages, and obstacles, not accelerating in the wrong direction, wondering why I can never get to where I want to be, but instead a 4-step process of identifying the ego, identifying the fire, and then everybody knows when you're on fire, you got to stop, drop, and roll. Those are the 4 steps to practice ending ego or practice ending fear. Remember, ego stands for edging goodness out of your life, EGO. Anything that edges goodness out of your life, you got to stop, drop, and roll.
That's so good. Guys, if you're listening to this right now, I just recommend everybody go back, listen to that 10 times. I know I'm going to later. This is some deep teaching that David's dropping on us right now. So thank you for that. Next question I have for you, and I've asked several successful entrepreneurs this, and I don't know if you get this question very often, but my question for you is, do you think that entrepreneurs have to basically go to the point of no return? It's not so much rock bottom, but it's like, it's to a point of like where they are getting success and it's not lashing out, but it's just, it is like they're at kind of the height of ego, and then they get humbled by either something inside of their company, something with health, something with family, something along those lines. My question for you is that, do you think it's possible for entrepreneurs to get to that level of success that they achieve without overshooting and then coming back down, kind of going over the edge, if you will? I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think there's a definition in here. I think it's impossible to be successful as an entrepreneur if you don't have the desire that you must be what you can be. I think people who have the desire that they must be what they can be will experience failures, setbacks, and mistakes. Whether you're Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, whether you're Zuckerberg, whoever it is, I think there's different types of failures, setbacks, and mistakes that are made. But I think any great entrepreneur, number one, has a desire that they must be what they can be. They actually enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential. But moreover, I do not think you have to bottom out from, like I did, from, grandiose, screw ups that take you to zero. But I think every entrepreneur has to experience only because you're only going to experience it if you have a desire that you must be what you can be. You're going to make mistakes, failures, and setbacks. It's how good you get at dealing with the mistakes, failures, and setbacks to promote and protect yourself and to not create those void, shortages, and obstacles. But you have to have 2 things: the desire that you must be what you can be, and then the ability to deal with the setbacks, mistakes, and failures in order to get to the greater potential that you have.
That's good. That's really good. Let's talk about value creation. When it comes to creating value into the marketplace, you've been quoted saying, the more lessons that I learn, the more value I can create. I very much agree with that. Um, when it comes to creating value, is that something that came natural to you? Because money seemed to follow you around. Like, I'm just curious on, like, did you have to stumble upon that, or did you do it subconsciously?
Yeah, I think there's a genetic and an energetic inheritance of people in three
Yeah.
realms. One, productivity, the ability to add value. Two, accessibility, the ability to be accessible to others and to provide value to those people, but also the accessibility, which was not inherent in my nature, to receive. So although I made a lot of money, I had difficulty receiving. And then, of course, the genetic and energetic level of inheritance of gratitude, right? I was just born with a happy gene. I was born with a grateful gene. So I had a better capacity,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't trade it. People are jealous of someone like LeBron James. Oh, I wish I was born with the genetics of LeBron James so I could play basketball with him. I would never trade my genetic gratitude gene that I was born with, because I was born
That's
with a
good.
LeBron James level of talent and skill with gratitude, just born into it. Even though I was born into shit, in Akron, Ohio, I was grateful for everything. And that has helped me more than anything in my life. But I think understanding and acknowledging your genetic and energetic inheritance is essential to understanding your potential as well as your weaknesses.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thanks for sharing that. When it comes to people's why, I think a lot of people really spend a lot of their life trying to figure out what their why is, especially if they're kind of like bumbling through life. Um, what are your thoughts on helping someone find their why? And what would you say to those people that are struggling to find it?
Well, I would tell them a new mantra. I'd say, stop looking for your why. Stop looking for the more in life, this passion, purpose, the inspiration, motivation, whatever you're looking for. It's already there. So instead of saying, I got to get more of this or more of that, or more happy, more healthy, more inspired, more motivated, stop. Say, I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? You already have your why. Let's start applying the why, right? Let's go the extra mile every day. Let's not go the extra mile every once in a while, searching for something you already have, using where you are today, where you want to be, as a justification because you went the extra mile every once in a while. If you go the extra mile every day, if you realize, I am already happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy, what am I doing to interfere with it? The why will elevate itself and will become more transparent to not only you, but to others. And you will be a person who lives in spirit, inspired, connected to and through the abundance, the omniscient, all powerful, all knowing, omnipresent source of energy that is enough energy that sits in your pinky to light up all of Manhattan. That's, when you realize how much energy and power you have, then you'll realize, shit, what am I doing to interfere with it? Not, I have to go get this power. You are already a why. Go apply the why.
Mm, man, I'm just gonna let that resonate for a second for our audience, dude. This is like a fire hose for them, so I'm excited for them to hear what they say. Um, there's there's a lot of people who are probably sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, that's great, David. I'm glad that you have that figured out. But for someone that's maybe someone that's even spiraling right now, that you've kind of been in their shoes at one time. I know I've felt like I've been in their shoes at one time, where their things aren't going the way that they're supposed to for them. They're spiraling downward. Maybe they're leaning towards that edge of the cliff that we talked about. What would you say to those people right now if they were sitting right in front of you?
It's the same thing I tell myself when I was 14, 24, 34, 44, or I told myself today at 54. Ask for help. Find someone that sits in the situation you want to be in. Ask them for help. Ask in person, on the phone, via email, traditional social media, whichever way you can. Ask for help. Live in radical humility. Know that you can't give what you don't have. Remember, every thought you have that you give away is strengthened when you give it away. And so when we ask other people for help, we are not only receiving what we ask for, but we're strengthening the other person as well. The greatest thing about the process of giving is that it is actually proven biochemically to be the greatest thing you can do. Why is that? Because when we give, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins are released. We become happy. These are literally biochemistry in action, a reward from God for giving. But even more than giving, when we receive, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins are released in the person that's receiving. Once again, proof biochemically, physically, that we're doing the right thing. When we receive or give, both of those are doses, a reward from God. But here's the most remarkable thing as we sit in an age of the pandemic, where people talk about the most viral of all diseases of all time, the COVID. Let me teach you about a different virus, one that won't put you in the hospital, one that does not carry dis-ease, but carries ease. That virus is called happiness. And it's effectuated by giving and receiving, but even more powerful than any other disease that we could give or receive of one another, that puts us at dis-ease, or in this case, giving and receiving puts us at ease, at happiness, releasing dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. Here's the most powerful thing about happiness and giving and receiving. Everyone that witnesses it, whether it's on TV or on Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok, anyone that witnesses it anywhere in person, on the phone, email, you witness giving and receiving, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins are released. It is the most viral of all eases. There's no reason to have dis-eases. It's the virus of ease that's given. So if you want to be happy, then be a giver, be a receiver, or be a witness. All three will reward or be rewarded by the ease of happiness that I want to teach people and empower people to have by giving, receiving, and witnessing the greatest gift that we can give, which is that process of inspiration.
So good. So good. You know why that's true, or what, who is living that right now? And an example is Charlie Jabali with some of his YouTube videos. Are you familiar with Charlie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great example.
And like his YouTube videos or his Instagram videos, you see him like pulling up to a Starbucks or a Burger King and buying somebody a car. And like at first I was kind of like, oh, okay, it's just kind of a ploy to get followers, get looks, whatever. Like I judged it at first, but then I realized like that guy's just tapping into one of the greatest feelings on planet Earth. And that's just giving without expecting anything in return.
Oh yeah. And that, well, I like also the guy that asks, hey, can I brush your teeth? I'm practicing, I'm a dentist, and then gives them $500 when they say yes, right? And then watching the whole process as well, or Mr. Beast, of course, or whoever else it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I anybody that wants to put that out there, even if your intention is to somehow build a community or followers or even make money off of it, good for you, because you're spreading happiness, because you're teaching and showing, giving and receiving. And for whatever your intent is, the aspect and effect is one of positivity, one of ease, and you're giving a great gift. So I encourage everyone to come up with whatever content they want, no matter how humorous or intriguing it is, or whatever purpose you give it. If it's giving and receiving, it's all me.
That's so good. Could I have you selfishly, honestly, I want you to plug this book. I want you to tell people why people need to read this. I want to hear directly from you. Why should people read this book? It's called Connected to Goodness.
Well, and I give away my books, and it takes people like you who buy them so that I can give them away, or so that you can give them away. And it's the idea that we are connected to and through this great source. And I created a way of taking nothingness and making it a possibility through a kind of Napoleon Hill type of process, a pragmatic process of saying, look, let me teach you how to know what you want personally, experientially, giving and receiving. Because the minute I can get you to know what you want today in a trajectory of an outrageous, audacious future that should scare you and everyone else, or have people laugh at you, scoff at you, or make fun of you. But let me teach you how to know your what. Once you know your what, there's a mathematical advantage that takes place. You go from nothingness of not knowing what you want to a possibility, a mathematical advantage. So I teach people in Connected to Goodness to make all of their nothingness possible by knowing what they want, and then teaching you how to figure out who I can help and who can help me with what I want, which takes the possibility and makes it a probability. Another mathematical advantage of manifesting what you want by making it a probability. Then the heart and meat is, how do I make that probability my reality? Well, you need to make it your perspective. You can't find outside of you what you can't find inside of you. So I teach all the pragmatic disciplines, strategies, and awareness that's necessary to make a probability your perspective or your reality. This book will allow you to manifest anything you desire by teaching you to learn what I want, who I can help, who can help me, and how to get it done, prioritizing what's important to you, not what's important to other people or what's missing, but what's important to you, in order to apply that why, materialize everything you dream of. That's what that book, Connected to Goodness, gives. And for all of your audience, since you have graciously purchased books and donated them, I will also donate books to the community. If they email me, david@dmeltzer.com, in honor of you, I will sign a copy, send it to them, and pay for shipping and the book myself for any of your audience that wants to learn how to manifest what they desire in life.
Wow, that's incredibly kind. Thank you for doing that, David.
Well,
And again,
you
this
showed
is
up.
Connected
You
to
were the
Goodness.
giver. You're the one that donated and bought my books to donate to people. And I just want to make sure that I equal your giving nature and appreciation.
Thank you. Well, I know we're running to the end of our time here. I'd just love if you could leave us with some parting pieces of advice, specifically for young entrepreneurs in their first 5-10 years in business. I would love for you if you could tailor it directly towards that. That'd be great, David.
Yeah, number one rule in business is to stay in business. So that's the first thing. So start every day and guarantee that you'll be in business tomorrow. And eventually you'll be an overnight success. Eventually you'll get to an unbelievable success that you want. 2, be more interested than interesting. There's so many entrepreneurs that want to be interesting. I don't want to be the Dos Equis guy, the world's most interesting guy. I want to be the world's most interested guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask open-ended questions. I want a commercial about David Meltzer. Oh my God. Dave Meltzer one time asked 100 open-ended questions just to figure out how he could be of service or value to somebody. The world's most interested man. That's the commercial I want for me. So you have to be more interested than interesting. And then finally, my third piece of advice, stay in business. No, you got to be in business tomorrow. 2, be more interested than interesting. And 3, be kind. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. I promise you, if you follow these 3 simple pieces of advice, you will create abundance in your life. You will make a lot of money. You will help a lot of people, and you will have a lot of fun. And that's all I want to do, is empower everybody here to empower others to do all of that, because that will make me happy, because you'll be happy. Thank you so much for the time and the platform. Reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com. Happy to send you a signed copy of my book. I'll pay for the book and shipping in honor of Landon in this show. Thank you so much.
You're a blessing. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to connecting in person sometime soon.
Me too. Please reach out. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yeah. See you, buddy.